In this report, we are going to tackle about nucleic acid. So what is nucleic acid? Nucleic acids are complex biomolecules that carry genetic information essential for the growth, development, and functioning of all living organisms. They are made up of long chains of nucleotides, which are the building blocks of these molecules. They are responsible for storing, transmitting, and expressing genetic information. The nucleic acids have two main types, and it is the DNA deoxyribonucleic acid and the RNA ribonucleic acid. And before we were going to tackle about this, we are going to show you a short clip.
Sometimes it feels like DNA gets all the credit. Yes, the structure of DNA is amazing. It has a beautiful double helix structure, a twisted ladder, it has its own emoji. DNA stores genetic information and codes for your traits. However, sometimes what gets left out is how important RNA is. Without RNA, you actually couldn't get that genetic message out to your cells so that they can start producing proteins. We talk about this in protein synthesis. RNA is a very important biomolecule, just as important as DNA. In fact, RNA is even hypothesized as coming first, before DNA, in the RNA world hypothesis, something we need to make a separate video about. So let's compare and contrast DNA with RNA. First, you will find DNA and RNA in all living organisms. In eukaryotic cells, DNA tends to be found in the nucleus, while you can find RNA both inside and outside of the nucleus. Prokaryotic cells don't have a nucleus. Both DNA and RNA are nucleic acids, which are a type of biomolecule. Nucleic acids have a monomer, which, if you remember from our biomolecules video, a monomer is a building block. The monomer for nucleic acids is a nucleotide, so both DNA and RNA have nucleotides. The nucleotides of both RNA and DNA have three parts: a phosphate, sugar, and a base. Let's draw 6 nucleotides of DNA and 6 nucleotides of RNA. DNA is generally double-stranded, and if focusing on these 2 strands of nucleotides here, you can see they run anti-parallel to each other. RNA is generally single-stranded, so you are just seeing one strand here. The sugar in DNA is deoxyribose, and the sugar in RNA is ribose. This makes sense because DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. That's helpful to know because the deoxyribose is a sugar, and nucleic acid is that type of biomolecule it is. RNA stands for ribonucleic acid, as its sugar is ribose. The bases in DNA are adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. It helps to remember the popular mnemonic apples in the tree. That helps you remember that A goes with T, and car in the garage, so C goes with G, to understand how DNA bases pair. The bases in RNA are adenine, uracil, guanine, and cytosine. Notice the different one? It's uracil. So you have to change that popular mnemonic device here. Instead of apples in the tree, maybe the apples are under. Car in the garage still works, though. We mentioned earlier that DNA codes for your traits, but it couldn't do that without RNA's help.
Ribonucleic acid is the molecule that carries the genetic instructor used in the growth, development, functioning, and reproduction of all living organisms. On the other hand, ribonucleic acid is a critical molecule involved in the processes of genetic expression and protein synthesis in living organisms. It is closely related to DNA, but it has some key differences in both structure and function.
What are the nucleic acid made of? Nucleic acid contain the element carbon like proteins. Nucleic acid also contain hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, but nucleic acid also contain the element phosphorus.
What is the structure of nucleic acid? Both DNA and RNA are made up of monomers called nucleotides. All nucleotides contain 3 compounds. The first compound is a phosphate group which contains phosphorus. The second compound is a 5-carbon sugar. All 5-carbon sugar can be called a pentose. A good way to remember this is that Pent means 5 and the suffix os means sugar. The specific pentose sugar in RNA called ribose. The pentose sugar in DNA has one less oxygen than ribose in our RNA, which leads to its name deoxyribose. The third compound in nucleic acid, nucleotide is a weak base that always contains nitrogen. For this reason, this compounder is referred to as nitrogenous base.
The nucleotides in DNA contains one of four possible nitrogenous bases. They are called adenine, thymine, cytosine, or guanine. These bases are usually abbreviated as ATC and G. Similarly, the nucleotides in RNA also contains one of four nitrogenous bases: adenine, uracil, cytosine, or guanine. They are abbreviated as AUC and G. Notice that both DNA and RNA have adenine, cytosine, and guanine, but only DNA has thymine and only RNA has uracil.
Types of RNA. There are several types of RNA, each with distinct functions. Messenger RNA carries genetic information from DNA to the ribosomes to protect synthesis. Transfer RNA bring amino acids to ribosomes during protein synthesis. Ribosomal RNA make up a large part of ribosomes, which are responsible for protein synthesis. Small nuclear RNA involved in gene regulation and RNA processing. Function of nucleic acid. Nucleic acids perform several critical functions. Genetic information storage. DNA stores genetic information that is passed from one generation to the next. Protein synthesis. RNA plays a crucial role in protein synthesis, carrying genetic information from DNA to the ribosomes. Gene regulation. Nucleic acids regulates gene expression, ensuring that genes are turned on or off at the right time. Inheritance. Nucleic acids are responsible for the transmission of genetic traits from one generation to the next.
How does nucleotide monomers assemble into nucleic acid? The phosphate group in one nucleotide bonds with the pentose sugar in another nucleotide. The simple string of nucleotides form a nucleic acid polymer. Even though both RNA and DNA have alternating sugar and phosphate groups, there are differences in their overall structure.
This is the structure of RNA and DNA. RNA is a single-stranded nucleic acid, while DNA is a double-stranded nucleic acid. So, as we all see, RNA and DNA have a huge difference. So, in summary about the nucleic acids, nucleic acids are vital molecules that contain and transmit genetic information. DNA stores genetic information, while RNA plays a crucial role in protein synthesis and gene regulation. Understanding nucleic acids is essential for understanding the basics of life and has numerous applications in fields like genetics, biotechnology, and medicine.